All right. I think we're live now. Justin, thank you very much behind the scenes there, helping us get this set up. Hopefully anybody that's tuning in can see the presentation that I'm showing here on, at least it's on my screen, hopefully. It's on yours as well. I'm going to make a prompt start here. The session will be recorded, so anybody that signs up or is interested in seeing it again, you'll have access to that. We'll send a link out so you can see the recording. But thanks to anybody that's tuning in here, maybe with questions about the VA home loan benefit. Definitely one of our favorite loan programs to help with for multiple reasons. One is we just like helping veterans back. I mean, these are folks that have dedicated significant portions of their lives to sacrificing and helping our country and our quality of life. And so being able to help veterans buy a home, purchase a home, or even doing a refinance, with the VA it makes us really happy. So it's something that we really like to do. And it's just a solid program. I mean, there's a lot of really awesome benefits that this program, the VA home loan benefit, can offer home buyers if they qualify. That is really just not really out there in any other specific loan program. It's like it takes really great elements of different loan programs and kind of fits it together to help our veterans. So yeah. But real quick here, as we're jumping in, getting started, my name is Nate Stewart. I'm a loan officer at CoLab Lending. I'm licensed myself personally in Puerto Rico and in Florida. And so happy to help anybody who's looking for a VA loan or any kind of mortgage loan, residential mortgage loan in those areas. But our company is licensed in and can help buyers in many other states, right? So, I mean, we got Puerto Rico, Florida, but we also include Pennsylvania, where we are originally based out of and are headquartered from. And then, we've got North Carolina, Illinois, Ohio, Maryland, Virginia, several other states. I won't pretend to hit every single one of them there in a random order, but that's a little bit about us. And so we're doing our best to try to make VA home loan benefit as accessible for folks as possible. So there's my contact info. Also, you can find me on YouTube. I've made some videos specifically about the VA benefits. So hopefully if you are looking for other information on how to use this benefit specifically in Puerto Rico, I would welcome you to scan that QR code or just go into YouTube and type in Nate Gringo Criollo Stewart, and you'll find that in there. And we're also a bilingual team too. Entonces, alguien que solo habla español, tenemos un proceso en español que podemos ofrecer a todo el mundo. So if that's applies to you, let us know. Happy to help. So let's jump in here and talk about what the VA home loan benefit looks like and kind of what you need to qualify. So first of all, the question of how do we know if a veteran qualifies? For us, in the loan world, this is quite easy. We just generate what's called a certificate of eligibility. And usually if that document is available, then we can see on there very easily and clearly, which it takes literally 1 minute for us to generate. We just need the veteran's name, social security number, and the year that they were born, and we can generate that document very easily. Sometimes though, we do see that there's like couple other little things that need to get done for that document to be generated and for us to see their eligibility, like a DDS 214 sometimes, or like, maybe there's like one other document that we might have to track down. But in most cases, like 99% of cases, we can just jump into the portal that the VA has, and we can generate that document. So it's quite easy for us to be able to see clearly who qualifies and who doesn't. And it's from all different branches of the military, all different service types, all different job types. You don't have to be active duty. There's many different types of service that can get you qualified for this. But let us know if you want some help. We can generate that very quickly to tell you if you would qualify for this. Yeah, and so the certificate of eligibility tells us lots of things on there. One, it'll tell us obviously like the name and personal information of the veteran. It'll tell us how much eligibility they have. That's an important factor because that lets us calculate what's their maximum loan amount that they could use with this benefit. If you have another VA loan going, let's say, for example, you are stationed in one place, you buy a home with a VA home loan benefit, and then you get stationed elsewhere and you want to purchase another property in that new place. You could have two VA loans going at the same time one in the original place that you're stationed and then one in the second place, that would be totally fine. But we would need to look at the certificate of eligibility, and we would do a little bit of math to figure out if there's a sufficient amount of eligibility for that veteran to be able to add a new property onto their loan if they had enough eligibility for that. But anyway, this document tells us everything that we need to know. It also tells us if they have a service-connected disability, and it tells us what their VA benefit award is each month. So it also says it on there. So it just helps confirm some of the income that we can use on the application. So lots of very important document. We can get it very easily, thankfully. But that is what is all going to be found on the certificate of eligibility. Property types that can qualify. So I think one of the main things to know about the VA home loan benefit is that it is only for a veteran to purchase their primary home, right? You cannot use the VA home loan benefit to purchase like a vacation home. Can't be used to purchase an investment property. It's only for use of the primary home of the veteran, right? So lots of different property types can qualify. It can be a single family home, townhome, can be a multi-unit property, right? A multi-family structure, so long as the veteran is going to be occupying one of those units as their primary home, and then they could rent out the other ones if they wanted to, but that is allowed. And also condominiums. And thankfully, I'll have a little bit later, I'll talk about the condo stuff, but they have a list of their own condos that they've approved that we can use the VA home loan benefit for. So those are a little bit about the types of properties. Basically, any type of residence that would be the primary home for the borrower. One quick tip is that sometimes, a veteran, from time to time, we get calls about that they purchase a property cash and they want to like refinance out the cash and take the cash out using the VA home loan, like the EARL or the refinance version of the VA home loan benefit. That is not possible, right? The VA, as kind of like a veteran buyer protection measure, they're not going to allow a veteran to, if you own your home free and clear, to put a mortgage on it, even with the VA home loan benefit. Their thinking is that, well, if you already own it free and clear, we don't want to risk you getting behind in payments. Life can go in directions we don't anticipate, right? And if something were to happen, then you would have had a home free and clear. And, if we put a mortgage on it, something happens, then you could lose your home. We don't want that. And so for that reason, the VA doesn't allow, if you own your home cash, you can't do like a cash out refinance for the VA home loan benefit. Not a thing. All righty. Probably the most well-known and best benefit of the VA home loan benefit program is that you can go with 0% down payment, right? No down payment whatsoever. This is kind of subject to other numbers on the application, like debt to income ratio. But assuming that all those things look fine, 0 down, right? Now that is different. To say 0 down payment is different than saying 0 money to close, right? Because there's the closing costs is kind of 2 categories. There's the down payment, which can be 0 for this, and oftentimes is. But then there's also the question of closing costs, which can also be 0, but that is only in certain circumstances, right? So it's usually the case that while the veteran is purchasing the property, it's going to be 0 down, right? They have no money for a down payment, which is great. But then sometimes and oftentimes they have to still pay some closing costs, right? There's origination fees to the loan. There can be, taxes for the thing. There's title work, appraisal, all these kinds of things can be charged. And the VA has certain rules about like which things can be charged and which things can't. But there oftentimes are closing costs. If you'd be wanting to have no money to close, right? So 0 down payment. You got to make sure that debt to income ratio works fine. That's not usually that hard. But then to have no closing costs, you need one or both of the following. What's called lender credit, where the buyer agrees to take a higher interest rate and gets paid credit at closing, right? That they can put towards some of those closing costs, and or what's called seller's assist, where the seller literally agrees that some of the proceeds of the sale they will give back to the buyer. And then that can be contributed to help offset closing costs. So those are either one or both of those things need to work together in order to have like 0 funds to close. In the current market, this is less common, but I just wanted to address that because from time to time we speak to veterans who they'll tell us, no, I talked to the VA. They said I don't need a single dollar to close on a VA home. That's not the case, right? If somebody did tell you that, they're mistaken. It can be possible to set it up that way. And in different markets, it's a little easier than in today's market. But that hopefully clarifies it. But anyway, one of the best known benefits about this program is that no money down, which is just awesome. Loan limits, there are no loan limits for the VA home loan benefit. So long as you can afford that monthly payment, then there's not a loan limit that's imposed by the VA. It's kind of lender specific. Some lenders will say, oh, well, we're going to keep the benefit limited to the conventional loan limit, which in most counties is about $726,000, $726,200. What it is this year in 2023. Some counties, in certain states, there's a higher limit, but that is right now is like the general limit. And so, but that's lender specific, right? There are lenders, and we do have lending partners. As we're brokers, we have like 30 different lenders that we partner with, and most of those don't have any loan limit for this loan. So long as you can afford that payment, you can get a loan above the conventional loan limit. What do you need to know about a VA appraisal? So VA appraisals do have some specific things to them. So I'll address a couple of myths first. One is that there's a lot of people would say that the VA appraisal takes longer. That's not the case. It takes exactly the same amount of time. Some folks have told us that they've heard that it costs more for a VA appraisal. That's not the case either. It costs the same as another appraisal. And that some people say that it's more strict. In certain respects, perhaps it's fair to describe it as being a little bit more strict. And that's really because the VA's whole goal is to provide safe and adequate housing for veterans, right? People that have made that sacrifice, people that have earned this benefit, they want them to have a safe home, a safe and healthy home for themselves. And so for that reason, that there are rigid requirements for the health, safety, and structure of the properties to qualify, and that those things will get called out on appraisal. So sometimes, if it's a strongly oriented seller's market, some sellers are not going to want to entertain. Unfortunately, they would say that they don't want to entertain a VA buyer. I don't think that's fair, because I think that we're just trying to make sure that property is up to snuff. It's going to be safe and very habitable for the veteran to purchase it. So it's really in the veteran's best interest that the appraisals do have those certain requirements. One thing that is good to know about a VA appraisal is that it protects the buyer, right, the veteran buyer, from really low appraisals. There's a process called Tidewater that basically, let's say that it doesn't appraise on value, it appraises a little lower. There's actually an opportunity. The VA home loan benefit is unique because we get the opportunity as loan officers and all the real estate agents involved, if there are, we get notified, okay, Tidewater has been triggered, which is to say that it didn't appraise on value. You have 48 hours to provide comparable properties and to help them bump that value up to the agreed upon price in the contract. So that's awesome. We don't have that option in other loan scenarios. And then even after the Tidewater, let's say you submit some comparables and the price still didn't go up, the VA can also step in and do what's called a reconsideration of value. However, that can take a little bit extra time. Like they say that they can take up to 3 weeks to reevaluate, though I did one not too long ago and it only took a couple of days. And so that's some support that we get from the VA regarding appraisals. I don't think there's too much else that's important to say about it, VA appraisals. But that, like I said, it's just really to get veterans into a home that's going to be safe and healthy for them. And yeah, we have these extra benefits of being able to provide comparables if it doesn't appraise on value, and even calling in the VA support to help get a reconsideration if that's necessary. So a lot of benefits there to having a VA appraisal. The escape clause is another great benefit, especially if, even if the contract says that the property is not subject to appraisal and that, the buyer could potentially lose their deposit if it doesn't appraise well. Well, the VA escape clause can help protect our veteran buyers from that. Is because that's exactly what it says, is that if it doesn't appraise on value or needs too many repairs or we're not able to proceed, that the VA or that the veteran can walk away and will not be penalized in terms of their earnest money deposit or in any other way. And so that's another benefit to going with the VA home loan benefit. And then, as I mentioned, one really great thing about the VA loan is that the VA has gone to the trouble to compile a database of condominiums that are already approved. In other words, I mean, they still need to be appraised for the value and other factors, right? But that the condo associations and that the structures in general and that the insurance in general has already been reviewed and approved by the VA. There's a list. We'll put a link in the description here with this video where you can essentially you can Google it. And just go and try to find that VA list of approved things. You can filter it by state. You can filter it, I think, even by county. You can filter it a lot of different ways. You can search by the condominium's name and find out if it's already approved. This will help you. This will help save people that are shopping using the home loan benefit, shopping for a condominium. It'll save you a lot of time and energy because you don't have to go condo to condo asking agents or asking association managers. You can just go to this list and say, these are the places we can look at because these are the ones in our area that are already approved by the VA, right? So another super great benefit. And again, a quick Google search can help you find that link, but we'll also put a link in the description after this. Some myths about the program. So there are a lot of myths, unfortunately, about this program. I think that the number one myth I kind of addressed already is that it's like zero money to close. Like I said, it is zero money down, but typically there are closing costs. Those can get covered depending on how the deal and the loan gets structured. But in most cases, there are some closing costs. So that's probably the number one myth to address. Another myth to address regarding also like down payment is that some buyers feel that if they know that I'm putting zero money down, that's going to make me look like a weak buyer, like I don't have enough money. That's not the case. We don't, first of all, that's not really something that the sellers need to be really informed of anyway. If they do find out, perhaps on the pre-approval letter, it says how much money they're putting down. It has really nothing to bear on it. I mean, if you've been pre-approved by one of our loan officers, that is to say that you are good to go for that purchase value, regardless of how much money you want to put down. So not needing to put any money down does not indicate, at least to experienced folks in the business and in the industry, like real estate agents and stuff like that, does not indicate to somebody that you're a weak buyer at all. Another myth is that that the loans are harder to get underwritten because the VA has more rules. That's a complete myth. I'm not sure where that one started. There's certain policies and things in place, like I've already mentioned, about protecting VA buyers, especially during the contract period, during the appraisal period, and those kinds of things. But the underwriting is not harder at all. So that's a myth. Another myth is that it can take longer to close a VA loan. Total myth. That's not the case at all. So long as everything in the process goes smoothly, just like any other loan program, they can close just as fast as any other program. I mean, in Puerto Rico, we got a VA loan cleared to close in only 17 business days. I mean, and that's here. So it goes to show, that anything's possible, that the timeline is not affected by it being a VA loan at all. Another myth is that many sellers believe that they have to pay the closing costs of the veteran. That's a myth. As I said before, there are certain instances where if the seller agrees to pay what's called, seller's assist or seller concessions, which is up to them, maybe to attract buyers, then they would be paying some of those closing costs, but out of the proceeds of their sale. It's not like they have to go into their pocket. But that's negotiable. That's done up front, and that's not a built-in feature of the VA loan. That's just kind of an optional thing that comes out and gets defined during the contract negotiation part of any purchase. So that's a myth there, that the sellers have to pay closing costs of the veteran. That's not the case. And last myth that I'll touch here is that you can only have one VA home loan at a time. I think I mentioned before, That's not the case. I mean, so long as we can show a good reason why you're, going to keep the previous home that you purchased with the VA home loan, and then if you're moving, especially if you're active duty and you're getting assigned someplace to live, then it makes sense that, okay, well, I bought this previous place using my home loan benefit. I want to buy again where the military is telling me I have to live, and so you can use the same benefit again so long as you have enough eligibility. And typically we do. I mean, let's say that even though there's not a max loan amount, let's just say that we're going to use the conventional loan limit of $726,000 and change, right? That's essentially like two $375,000 homes that you could fit into. If you're eligible for the max for that amount, then you could fit two $375,000 homes into your eligibility. So it really, there's not loan limits. It's much more about like the income that the veteran has to use and their debt to income ratio, setting that limit as far as like how much they can afford. But it can be possible, and we help folks often use their VA home loan benefit to buy another property when they already have one in another location. Now, having two in the same location, that's probably not going to work, because then underwriters are going to ask, well, why are we using the same benefit to purchase another primary home like right down the street or in the same town? That would come down to if the veteran can provide a sufficient explanation. But in other circumstances, like if they're moving far, if they're getting reassigned somewhere, then we can do it. So hopefully that clarifies those myths. That is really it, guys. Short and sweet. Hopefully I addressed any questions. Hopefully I clarified why this is such a great program, why we really like to help veterans. It's really solid. But if you have other questions, if you have any comments or feedback about the presentation, anything really, just want to say hello. You just feel lonely and you need a friend. Pick up the phone, give me a call, shoot me an email. Find me on YouTube, like I said. You can scan that QR code if you're watching, and or you can just go to YouTube and search me up, Nate at Gringo Criollo Stewart, and be happy to help anybody who's looking for this, for help with finding out if they qualify, if the property is going to qualify, and how we can get you pre-approved. We'll be happy to help. We have a whole team of folks that love the VA home loan benefit, and so we'd be very, very happy to help anybody that needs help. So, but that's all from me, folks. Thank you very much to those of you that tuned in, and hope to talk to everybody soon if you have questions. But let us know how we can help. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the week. Good 4th of July week next week, and let us know how we can help. Thanks, everybody.